Welcome back for number 5, geometry students. In the figure below, point C is the image of point A resulting from successive reflections through parallel lines, line WZ and line XY. So let's make sure we understand what they're saying. They're saying that we start with point A here, and then after we've done that, we first reflect it across this line, and that's what gives us point B. Then we reflect it across this second line here, XY, and that gives us point C. So that's what they're talking about through the parallel lines, successive reflections through the parallel lines. B is reflection of A across WZ, and C is reflection then of B across XY. So it started with A, entered to C. Label the distance from A to line WZ as P. Okay, so this is P. And the distance from B to line XY, Q. B and XY. So this is Q. Alright, also label the distance from B to line WZ and C in terms of P and Q. Okay, so what they're telling us there is that we should also mark this as being distance P, because remember, when I reflect it, it's going to be just as far to the other side of the line as it was to this side of the line when I started out. And so then this is also the distance Q, because from B to XY is Q, and from XY to C is Q. Because when I reflect something across the line, however far away it was from the reflecting line to start with, it's going to be that far away from the reflecting line after I reflect it. So if this was 5 inches away from the reflecting line, then the reflection would be 5 inches away from the reflecting line as well. Okay, so that's why we can label these the same, P and P, Q and Q. Alright, what is the distance between line WZ and line XY in terms of P and Q? So when they say that, they're telling us that they want us to describe that distance using P and Q. Alright, so they're talking about this distance here between the two lines. And you can see that from this line WZ to B is P, and from B to Q is Q. So we would say that it's P plus Q. Frequent mistakes students make on this particular problem is they want to multiply these values. This is addition. It's just this much plus that much. Okay, P and Q. P plus Q. What is the distance between A and C in terms of P and Q? So now they want us to describe that distance from A to C using P and Q. Well, you can see it's P plus P, right? That gets us from A to B, plus Q plus Q. Alright, so simplifying, that's 2P plus 2Q. Alright, combining like terms. So we have 2P plus 2Q. Under what transformation is C the image of A? Now, if you have taken the time to become familiar with all your transformations, you knew before you even started answering these questions that this was a translation, because you knew it was just from this description up here that it was through parallel lines, successive reflections through parallel lines. Well, that's exactly what a translation is. Through parallel lines. 2 reflections through parallel lines. Oop, translation. Alright, so then the last thing, how does the magnitude of the transformation compare to the distance between the line WZ and XY? Alright, vocabulary is an important piece of this. Do you know what a magnitude is? Okay, magnitude is the distance from the starting point to the finishing point. And that's what we answered in C. C is the magnitude, 2P plus 2Q. And the distance between the line, we answered that in part B. This is another example of why you cannot, once you answer a question, you may not be done with that question. You probably have to go back and look at it and absorb that information to answer another question later on. So the magnitude is 2 times greater than the distance between the lines. And that is what happens all the time. That is a relationship that is always present. Magnitude of a translation is always 2 times the distance between the lines. And that is number 5. There will be one like it on the test. All right? See you on the next one.